quick introductions. On a call today from Team Unisys, you have our EMEA Service Desk Leader, Vera Faludi, and our US Services Manager, Rocky, and myself, Patrycja Sobera, responsible for our global and user experience delivery organization here at Unisys. And quite frankly, we could talk to you about best practice of a managed service provider for, at least 2 days, rather than just 20 minutes. But for the purpose of today's presentation and the time limitations, we'll focus on these 6 core service components from agenda standpoint, which we believe drive the most important outcome for an MSP, i.e. End user happiness. But before we go into the detail, let me just really quickly introduce Unisys to you all, as I'm very well aware that perhaps we're not a well-known organization out there. So just for those who don't know us, we are nearly 150 years old organization. We are a global information technology firm specializing in high security, high capacity solutions and services. We have a couple of super cool accolades to mention. We're actually responsible for the first QWERTY typewriter from 1840s and the first large-scale digital computer, which was the ENIAC in 1940s. And at the time, Unisys was actually known as Burroughs, and then the name evolved to Unisys. So very proud of that history. So within Unisys, quite simply, our vision is to enhance people's lives through secure, reliable, and advanced IT solutions. And our organizational structure and delivery locations very much enable us to fulfill that vision. So what you can see on this slide, specifically looking at our services organization, there's over 3,000 of us across 13 locations around the globe, placed strategically to allow us embrace a true follow the sun support model. We have over 50 nationalities in our service desk, supporting 17 million client support requests per year. So a very busy team, continuously looking to obviously better ourselves and deliver that true seamless end user experience at every interaction. We are really privileged to have some large global organizations as our clients. And in fact, our top 10 clients have an average tenure of 30+ years, which hopefully shows the trust and partnership we have with our customers and stakeholders. But the key to our success is undeniably our amazing team. I know it's a cliche, but from a people standpoint, these guys are certainly our biggest asset. And with that said, I'll hand over to Rocky to tell you a little more about the key component of our success as an MSP, which is our amazing team. Rocky, over to you.
Thanks, Patrycja. Can you hear me, Patrycja? Make sure
yes,
I'm
we can.
audible.
We
awesome.
can.
Awesome. So yeah, Patrycja makes a very important point. Everything we do as an MSP, everything you all heard so far today, it all starts with the most important thing in any organization and any successful MSP that's going to add value to their clients, and it's the people. As you see here on the screen, there's a lot of faces from all across the globe, and we like to work hard together. We like to have fun together, and our people is where everything starts in terms of how we bring value to our clients and how we make sure that we drive success and we drive improvement as an organization, as an MSP. And people are important, and we have to be very, very focused on how we develop our people, how we are intentional about making sure that our people are not only set up to succeed, but they're also a diverse workforce. Everybody has a different background, and everybody comes into our environment with a different background. We value that, and Patrycja is going to show up the next slide. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what does it look like to value people, right? As an MSP, we're a super, we have a lot of clients, super, intricate organization, and it all starts with our people. And in order to value people, you have to value diversity, number one and foremost. And we have a lot of cool things we do as an MSP, and that it's important for successful MSPs to do that show the business, show the organization that you really do value people from all sorts of different walks of life. We have our Women in Tech program, where we're very intentional about helping develop women in IT, helping develop women to positions of leadership, positions of technical roles that really add value to our organization in a different perspective than some large organization might have. We are very intentional about taking people from all sorts of backgrounds, and one of the programs that we have is called our Neurodiverse program, and we partner with a organization that's called Neurodiverse in the Workplace, NITW, and we actually bring people who are neurodivergent candidates. So somewhere on the autism spectrum, there's a lot of different ways that you can, that the organization tells us they like to talk about their candidates, and they actually have a really unique interview process where these candidates bring their skills to us and say, here's what I'm good at. And we partner with them to really develop our diversity in our workplace and make sure we foster that. And we bring people from all sorts of different backgrounds into our organization, because we know that different diverse backgrounds bring value to our clients. They bring value and different perspectives to our environment. We've seen very, very high success with those candidates as well. And so it's been very successful for not only the candidates and the organization we partner with, but for our business and our clients. And so we value that diversity. We value our people, and we have to celebrate our people. You guys heard a lot about just being very intentional in some of the presentations about making sure we recognize our people. And so we have a really cool program that we use called Celebrate as one of our mechanisms that we do that, where we can actually call out employees. And this is a really cool program where any employee can call out any other employee. It's not just your leader. Leaders are intentional about recognizing the team's efforts, inorganically, organically, just in team meetings and in emails and communications. But we also have that formal program that allows them to get celebrate points where they actually get something tangible. They can use that to go get a gift card, to go get a blender, something along those lines that help them really have something tangible that says, hey, I was awarded for the effort I put in and the recognition. And it's great to have a diverse workplace. It's great to have high retention. People who are valued stay where they're valued. But none of that matters if we're not giving our people the ability to develop and grow. And so you see at the very top left there's a Unisys University is what we call it. A successful MSP that values their people, values their people's growth. And so I'm going to talk more about how we do that in the next slide. But Unisys University is a great platform where people can go own their growth in all sorts of ways. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and the build concept here in just a second. You can see the timeline here, the arrow pointing. It's a process to develop people and to invest in people. And it starts with making sure as a 5-star MSP, you're a very complex organization. So when people come into your organization for service desk, they understand who are you as an organization, right? What's your vision? Because vision is so important. You want your employees to understand and buy into that vision, but it doesn't stop there. You want them to know how they play a role in that vision. How do they bring value to your organization? How do they bring value to the clients? We are really big into automation. Patrycia's going to talk about that a little bit because we know our clients want things to be resolved before they ever need to have a human interaction. And sometimes service desk, that's scary. Automation, oh my gosh. Well, we like to make sure we're intentional about helping our agents and helping our team really understand, how does our automation actually add value to you? How does it add value to your role, and how can you help in improving the client and customer experience through that automation? So you have the vision, you have how I play a role in it. Now for us, because we have such a diverse workplace and we bring so many different kinds of people in, it's important that we're giving them a baseline. Everybody has a different skill set. We want them to understand the basics of the technology they're supporting. What are the tools you're going to be using? What does our automation look like, and how do you play a part in it? What is the ticketing system we're using? Most of us are on ServiceNow, and so we make sure we give them a base core understanding of what are you actually doing day to day. Now, that's all important, but we all know the goal of any successful MSP, the goal of any business that has clients, is that end user happiness, right? And as you heard previously already today, unless you know your clients, you're not going to be able to make them happy. And so we spend time in our boot camp process, getting our people ready to make sure they know who are you supporting, because Patrycja talked about how many, all the clients we have. Every client's unique. Every client uses different applications for different purposes that add value to their customers. And so we think in order to be successful, it's key to the team that they understand who are you supporting and what does their environment look like? How are you adding value to them? When you open up an application, when you get a call from somebody who's a mortgage broker, or you get a call from somebody who's, on a factory floor, and they're talking about a specific application or a specific process, why does that matter to them? How does that impact their business? Because you can only show empathy if you understand. And so we really want our people to understand who they're supporting and how it adds value to them. Now, once we have those core pieces of knowledge instilled in our staff, in our workforce, we want them to be successful. We don't want to just throw them to the wolves. And so we actually are very intentional in making sure that we partner them with an experienced tenured agent. And this is a ongoing process for them. It's a continuous improvement process where we have our agents who are shadowing, reverse shadowing, which is pretty standard, but we take it one step further and we do feedback for the first 3 to 4 months that's getting put into their minds and their beings, their DNA, from the agent who has experience supporting this client, who knows this client, who knows where their bottlenecks are, who's seen, why these things are important. And so we want to make sure, that our agents have that nesting period, that they have that support, not only from their leadership, not only from the training to understand the clients and the tools, but from the people around them. And so we really partner with them and we put our arms around the new people and we make sure that we're giving them that feedback. And we believe those are the key components that really drive the success of our team, of our service desk. You really understand what we do as an organization. You understand why it matters. You understand, the client you're supporting intimately. And then you have that feedback, you have that nesting, you get that experience with a tenured agent to help you along the way. Now, at Service Desk, there's a lot of people who come to us who don't want to be in Service Desk forever. And we love that. We love that about our staff. We love that about Service Desk, is that we have the ability to take people who are hungry for knowledge, who are hungry to grow, who want to get in the IT world. And as an MSP, every successful MSP doesn't just provide Service Desk, right? Then you're just a Service Desk provider. You're not a true MSP. And so we want to make sure that we don't stifle that growth. We don't stifle that hunger. And so we're very intentional about making sure, like our Unisys University is a part of this process, but there's also mentorship programs. There's going to be, formal trainings that people can go and former boot camps for specific roles. But we want to help our people develop to add value outside of Service Desk. Service Desk isn't the end goal for most people. Some people love it and they're great being a level 1 agent, but a lot of people, most people want to grow. They want to grow their knowledge. They want to be someone who's a part of the automation process, who's a part of coding and knows how to make EPA work efficiently. They want to be a part of end user computing. They want to be a part of cloud support or cloud security. And so we make sure that we're intentional as a MSP in developing those people and developing those skills and giving people an outlet and a way to grow into the business. And not only is that great for retention of people, it's great for talent development. And we already heard about the talent wars that we're all facing right now as organizations. And people stay where they're valued. And when you're developed, you feel valued. And so what that allows us to do is develop our people internally from Service Desk to the rest of the business. But it also allows us to keep that client knowledge that we all 100% would probably agree. No one knows our client and users and what affects them and impacts them day to day better than our Service Desk. Nobody. And so we get to keep that intimate knowledge of our clients internal. We get to bring that value to the rest of the business. And so we're very intentional about that development of our people and making sure we're keeping that in-house, keeping that in our organization. And none of this is successful unless we have the ability to continuously improve, not only improve our people, but improve our processes, improve how we operate as an organization. And I don't want to steal too much of Vera's thunder, so I'm not going to go too far in depth, but I will hand it off to Vera. She's going to talk about that continuous improvement, all the pieces that go into that.
Thank you so much, Rocky. I hope everyone can hear me fine.
Yep.
We can.
And thanks, Rocky. Really, it's always so inspiring to listen to you talking about people. So talking about day in life, at the heart of our service desk operations, we have the service desk ecosystem that is tirelessly running in the background. It consists of 4 pillars, which is knowledge management, client data analytics, training, and quality monitoring. And these pillars are interacting with each other in a way that creates a continuous feedback cycle that enables service improvement, as Rocky just mentioned. It enables the identification of automation opportunities, or simply just enables teams to quickly react to changes happening in the environment. Knowledge management goes way beyond making sure that knowledge is available in an easily accessible form to all of our teams. Our knowledge managers are actively contributing to the identification of automation opportunities and also to the creation of actual use cases. We have a global team of quality coaches. They are monitoring agent contacts across all channels based on an extensive list of criteria, including technical and soft skills. And they are not only feeding evaluations back to the agent real time, but they would also be feeding back their inputs to other functions within the service desk ecosystem. And then there is client data analytics, which is looking at ticket and contact data to identify any trends, improvements holistically, so not specific to the service desk. One of the most important programs that they are running is the customer satisfaction analytics program, not only looking at scores, but also covering the sentiment analysis part when it comes to end user comments. We have defect reporting, mean time to resolve analytics, aiming to identify any areas for improvement for our teams, but also any inefficiencies in the overarching processes. The data analytics team is actively collaborating again with quality, with training, with knowledge management, not only when it comes to improvement actions, but also to understand what is driving specific trends that they see in the data. And then beyond the KFS ecosystem, we also need to provide the team with the right tool set. So one of the most important tools in the daily work life of our analysts is the contact center platform that they use. And having a familiar and consistent interface is not something that comes as a requirement from our clients only, but it would be also a requirement coming from our team of agents. So we provide them with a tool that gives them the power to control the client's experience by being able to seamlessly switch between contact channels. And also to our end users, the same tool provides the option to pick the device and to pick the channel that best fits their needs for that specific case. The consistent interface helps us to reduce training time so that we can focus on actual value-add activities, and the platform also seamlessly integrates with the virtual agent, which again increases live agent productivity further. And then with that, I would like to hand it back to Patrycja to cover tooling-related topics more in details.
Thanks, Vera. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Fantastic. And people and process, again, as Vera says and Rocky mentioned, need to be supported by tools. And in order to achieve that, we have a plethora of tools at our disposal with automation at the heart of our service delivery, giving us the opportunity to shift left or shift best those repetitive, lower value interactions to our AI-driven enterprise personal assistant, the EPA Rocky mentioned. And that's across our omni-channel interface, offering all entry points: voice, chat, phone, email, and web. And these automation activities include things like user entitlement, ticket creation, status checks of an open ticket, password resets, etc., etc. So we also use unattended and attended robotic process automation, RPA, scripted automation, and machine learning as well. And we're also able to deliver a more personal support by using the personas concept in our configuration, ensuring that whether it's a VIP or someone from HR or finance, they will be offered support customized to their role and customized to the applications they use within their business area. And our AI identifies them by their unique user ID and can provide a much more personalized experience. And automation enables us as an MSP to deliver a much better end user experience by, again, as we said, accessing our services 24/7, 365 with no delays, no failures. Our AI solution, Amelia, doesn't take breaks. You know, she doesn't call in sick. She's always available, even if it's 2 a.m. and she needs to talk in Mandarin. But what's even better here is actually something Rocky mentioned already, is that automation allows us to really have the analysts enjoy what they do a little bit more. And rather than handling password resets and endless Citrix sessions, hang-ups all day, they can actually dig into fixing real, more complex technical challenges. We could spend, again, a lot of time here. So let me just quickly hand over to Rocky to talk a little bit more around another key aspect of an MSP, another key service component, which is metric measurements and reporting.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, so an MSP that's going to be successful and add value to their clients has to know their data, right? We all know, anybody who's watching this presentation, anybody sitting in the room listening to us talk, knows that data and metrics are what drive, you know, the information, right? Data is information. And so in order to be a successful MSP, in order to really add value to our clients and that end user experience, it's really critical that we have not only a robust amount of information, but we actually have a robust reporting and governance around that information. What I like to call the so what, right? The data is only good as the so what. What are we doing with it? What's the information we're pulling from it? What's the story? And we use all of the data we get, right? Everything from our metrics, and it's important that you're reporting on everything that is reportable, not just to have the numbers, right? We don't just want to have reports on how many knowledge articles were used. We don't want to just have reports on the average handle time. We want to know what that information means for our clients. What does that information mean for our end users? Without a robust amount of knowledge and without a wide range of data, you're not going to be able to put the story together, right? You're not going to be able to put the pieces together to say, here, Mr. Client, here's what actually this means for your end user. Here's the bottleneck. Here's how we as an organization can help you with that, right? And so it's all pointing back to that end user experience. It's all pointing back to being able to give feedback to the people, the clients and our people, on how we're doing, where are we successful, and what's the story. And that being said, you know, there's a lot that goes into metrics and a lot that goes into numbers. We can look at numbers all day. And we all have had those experiences where we're talking to a client, we're crushing it on the SLAs, we're crushing our metrics, we're green across the board, but they're not happy. The client's like, well, you're failing, and we don't know why. And so, you know, our metrics are great, and it's important to have that information to be able to help identify those opportunities for end user experience improvement. But it's important, if you want to be successful, if you really want to add value to your clients and your end users and the experience they have, that you take it one step further. And Patricia's going to talk a little bit more about what that looks like for us.
Great, thanks, Rocky. So whilst we have these metrics and measurements, what really matters is, as Rocky said, end user experience. That's ultimately the core component of our DNA as an MSP. And ultimately, user happiness drives everything that we do. Our experience management process focuses on identifying, mitigating, reducing, and ultimately preventing incidents and problems in a continuous and consistent way. Again, with that key focus on end user happiness. And to improve the end user experience and increase user happiness, we're using XLAs, experience level agreements, focused on much more multidimensional aspect of kind of data, such as device and collaboration management data, such as surveys looking at measuring the user sentiment, not just the kind of customer satisfaction metric on the back of a resolved incident, to not only identify issues affecting the customer experience, but to ultimately get ahead of those. So on the right on the slide, you can actually see a snapshot of our three-dimensional XLA methodology encompassing the user sentiment I've mentioned, digital experience score based on device and application data, using tools such as Nexting or Wani, complete with the traditional but still very much relevant look at SLAs and KPIs. And the XLAs are used to ensure we don't have that typical watermelon effect Rocky just mentioned, where we're smashing it. We've got green KPIs and SLAs across the board, but not necessarily an overall happy end user sentiment. And we know happy users are ultimately more empowered, much more productive, and as Rocky said, they don't tend to leave. And from a personal perspective, as a leader responsible for the delivery teams here at Unisys, my entire delivery organization focuses on end user experience, knowing how important it is to our clients, but also us internally within Unisys. We also focus on the same challenges. We need to attract talent. We want to retain talent internally. We want to drive much better collaboration, productivity, innovation, and above everything else, that Unisys associate happiness. And the next slide is to really briefly look at experience in action. I already mentioned the experience data sources, which we have combined at Unisys to build the true XLA picture, the next generation of XLAs, the XLAs 2.0, looking at digital health, the service metrics, the sentiment, focusing on a feeling aspect of the end user and the application metrics, looking at, for example, performance of tools such as Zoom or Teams, where in this remote or hybrid working, we tend to spend our entire working days using those tools. So it's hugely important to make sure we have that holistic view. And then we collate all of this information, put it in a data lake, so we're able to report and measure on all of those things together to drive the multidimensional experience score. And the green diagram you can actually see here is a combined dashboard of the digital experience indicators for one of our clients. So this is actually a working DXI dashboard showing those digital experience indicator scores. And with our proactive experience management office, so that's the XMO team executing experience management, we're able to get ahead of degraded colleague experience and again remediate any of those trends and patterns before they really become an end user issue. So the end users can focus on what matters to them, right? Driving their business, being productive, being innovative, being collaborative, and ultimately for our clients, it's all about having that happy workforce. And to finish this section, this is actually one of our favorite quotes by Maya Angelou, which is again at the core of our DNA. As a managed service provider, our service delivery is focused on end user experience, which I know we've said about 1,000 times already in this short presentation. It is important to us to leave our end users with the right sentiment on every interaction. And we're quite lucky for our clients to actually recognize this. This is just a small selection of some pretty amazing feedback. I know some of this is in languages perhaps not all of us understand and speak, but trust me when I say this is truly amazing, and it just reflects all of the amazing work our people do day in day out. It's just a cherry on the cake. And to finish off, we have a short 2-minute video focused on the concept of experience management and particularly experience parity. So important today, in the era of remote and Rocky mentioned hybrid working. This is something our end users expect, to have the same experience, whether they're in the office, whether they are working from home. They really expect IT services to just work, right? They need to be as seamless and as easy to operate as it is to operate an iPhone. Holly, over to you to play the video, please.
Organizations are striving to adapt to new work models with new policies and procedures. Security, data, and rules of engagement have shifted. Employers struggling with business continuity and productivity are now grappling with new norms, learning to be more empathetic with employee wellness at the center. New approaches, technology, data, and insights are needed to stay competitive and nimble to win the talent war. The future of work is hybrid, and success will be defined through experience parity. Experience parity is a seamless environment where a person has the same exceptional experience, whether remote or in the office. When employee experience is at the core, teams easily connect and collaborate. When organizations attract and retain top talent, they can reinvent their business. Experience parity results in engaged employees, leading to innovative companies and satisfied customers. directly impacting the bottom line. At Unisys, we are empowering the hybrid workplace and workforce, designing smarter, innovative workspaces that create seamless digital experiences securely. From automating the back office to creating and supporting the agile workforce in the gig economy, enabling organizations to accelerate and elevate workflow and collaboration with insights and metrics to revolutionize your employee experience. Unisys is ushering in a new era, poised for opportunity. The question is, are you ready?
Lovely, thank you very much. We have seen your video, which was brilliant, and so many questions that I'd like to ask you guys. We're kind of out of time, but I just want to, I've got two and I don't know which one to put in. So I'll ask a question, I think, relating to value. So Rocky talked very much about valuing employees, at the beginning, which was brilliant. Obviously there's lots of talk at the minute, about the great resignation, the changing landscape of the workforce. What advice would you give organisations about, I suppose, recruitment in the current climate? How do you recruit the right team members that goes on then to ensure they understand the value that they deliver to the organisation?
Absolutely, no, great question. Thank you, Tessa. And I'll start us off and I'll hand over to the guys. But Rocky mentioned a couple of our main strategies. First and foremost is becoming a lot more location agnostic. So, I think if anything we've learned over the kind of pandemic period is that actually we can do this. We can do this pretty much from anywhere. And I think the technology has enabled us to really demonstrate how successfully we can do this. So being location agnostic, not limiting yourself to just, the old-fashioned sort of traditional recruitment linked very much to a specific location opens the pool of candidates dramatically. Secondly, what really worked for us actually was opening the kind of opportunities to our neurodivergent candidates. Rocky mentioned our partnership with NITW, the neurodiversity in the workplace. They are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We were going into this process with an open mind, not really expecting to hire, 5 analysts from just the first batch. And we just actually have done our presentations yesterday. And already in the first presentations, we found a few rock stars. So again, opening the pool to candidates perhaps that traditionally we perhaps wouldn't look at, or the agencies wouldn't put in front of us, who are in fact extremely technical, extremely talented, so well equipped to do this type of work. And really flourishing in this environment. So these for me were the kind of the key things. But Rocky, Vera, feel free to add anything.
Yeah, I think the recruiting process, right, in the world we live in, it's key that not only are we looking everywhere, right? We're, as she said, location agnostic, right? But I think it's important that we're looking for people, and when we get them in front of us to interview, we're very clear about who we are and about what the expectations are. One thing that I found in my life my young life as a person who interviews and who hires and who sees people come in, the one area that consistently causes people in the recruiting to fail is poor expectations, poor, inaccurate, what you're doing, what we expect from you. And so I think that's really helped us too, is we partner, our business is partners everywhere, right? So we do partner with those recruiters, and we partner with the sourcers that we use to help us when we need them. And we make sure they understand what we do. What do these candidates need to know about us, so that it's not just us bringing in talent, but it's talent who wants to be a part of our organization too.
Fabulous. Okay, brilliant. That was great. Thank you very much, guys. That was a really insightful presentation. Could have spent a lot longer with more questions, but I could tell myself for another time. Thank you for joining us today. It's been lovely to see you all again, and very much look forward to seeing you at an SDI event, hopefully sometime soon, face to face in the very near future.